Coming to you from Final Third Cigar and Whiskey Lounge in Ingalls, Indiana, Indiana's exclusive Aladino Cigar Lounge. It's the Final Third Podcast.
Welcome back to the Final Third Podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Isaiah.
And today we're going to be going through some stuff that's happened this last week, along with smoking the Herrera Esteli Nortino. I don't know how new this is from Drew Estate, but it's new to our humidor. San Andreas wrapper, medium to full cigar. So excited to get into this one.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Estate's pretty well new to our humidor in general, apart from the Deadwood stuff, which is partially theirs.
It's still theirs, yeah. It's still theirs.
Yeah.
And I brought back a couple bottles from our recent trip. Lisa and I went down to Louisville, went to the Evan Williams Experience, the only place you can get Evan Williams 12-year. And I've had this at their bar, and I know how fantastic it is. So we're going to be sipping through that one. And then we also know Isaiah is a big fan of Armagnac barrel finishes.
Well, Rob and I
am too, yeah, but I'm just saying we all know him. But this is an Armagnac barrel finish from a store down in Louisville called Evergreen.
Yeah.
This is the single barrel select from Down Home. Never heard of them. It's 97.1 proof, straight bourbon, finished in Armagnac barrels.
Well,
this is it doesn't say that they actually distill it themselves, but it says it's distilled in Hickman, Kentucky. I don't know who's in Hickman.
I don't know anyone in Hickman.
So it could be their own stuff. I don't know, but we're going to taste that along with it. And then you have something special we're going to taste too.
I do have something special. You should look at that. But today, we brought something really nice.
Didn't I tell you to clean your room?
That's dusty.
And indeed, it is a dusty pour. We got the bottle that people so graciously got me.
Is your volume up enough on your microphone? Because I can barely hear you. I just want to make sure everyone can hear you talking about your dusty bottle.
They can hear me.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Wow.
Can you hear me now?
Today.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
The beautiful dusty bottle. We got a Wild Turkey 8-year 101 from the year 1985.
Oh, yeah.
It came in a beautiful turkey and fox decanter, and it has since been decanted into a wonderful custom glass decanter that was also given to me that night. And I tell you what, Rob, let's have a little bit of the pour before we get into the cigar. This
okay, so I will say first little quick impression. We did our last dusty pour pick, and it was a Dickel.
Yeah.
And it smelled old. It tasted old. Nothing wrong with that, but it tasted old. This smells fresh, beautiful.
Yeah.
There is no dustiness in the nose. There's none of that mothball-y kind
There's
of
just
thing
no
going.
doubt that it's turkey. Like it's
so good.
It's like caramelized orange peel, like super brown sugary caramel.
And I'm really finding myself loving these old bottles of turkey.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay.
Oh, I want to get in the sip. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's dark cherries, orange peel, just a little bit of that mothball-y quality right at the end.
Very little, though.
And a ton of oak presence. And
the alcohol sting kind of lasts a little longer.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but it just like you can feel the sting kind of all the way back for a long time. But the orange is very strong for me. Not Vantage strong, because Vantage is obviously a lot of orange.
No, I thought that was vanilla bean ice cream.
No orange.
Seriously, one of my favorite dusty pours to date. And we've had a version of this twice now on the show.
And I will say all the ones we've tried have been fantastic.
Well, that's
Which
not true.
Huh? Of the what turkeys?
Okay.
No, of the turkeys.
I thought you said all the dusties. I was
No.
I brought you a nasty beam, We brought the Dickel.
No, I'm just talking about the turkeys.
Yeah.
Their stuff, and honestly, just however they're bottling, all the stuff they're doing something right. So good for them.
Yeah. The Herrera Esteli. I'm ready to get in the cold draw. I just went in with the Colibri V cut, which is my old standard, and looks like Rob went for a straight cut.
I went straight again.
It's raisins, figs, almost Raisin Bran cereal
with a little cocoa.
Yeah. You looking at your blood pressure right now? Not blood pressure.
No, my sugar.
Your sugar?
Blood sugar.
You nervous? Are you going to pass out on this show?
No.
Don't do that.
No, if I start coughing, that's when I pass out.
Oh, okay. You do that all the time on this show.
Yeah, but I did that the other night. It was
you passed out?
Scared Lisa to death. She thought I died. Gosh. She's beating on my chest. I woke up the next day and my chest was killing me.
Dude, she probably did that for show. I'll bet she was happy.
She might have been happy.
Was like, you got life insurance?
Well, actually, we're working on that. So she probably was really trying to make sure I was still alive. Yeah, it was pretty brutal, man.
Yeah, you can't die before you have a life insurance policy.
Well, that's the thing about changing careers and changing, businesses and stuff like that. Sometimes that insurance goes along with the company.
Yes.
So.
Yes, indeed. This cigar smells wonderful just as I'm lighting it up, toasting the foot.
Nice spicy retrohale right off the start.
Yeah. Chocolatey.
Very chocolatey. There was a little bit more hay in the cold draw than there is now, but that black pepper kind of just lingers on the tongue too, which I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Very good cigar. We were talking about this today because did we smoke the Undercrown 10 last week?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Undercrown 10, we were looking at the construction on that Undercrown 10. It might be some of the best construction on a cigar I've seen to date. And honestly, I used to like the Ligas a lot. I haven't really followed the Ligas as much anymore. These look like they could have been the highest end Liga. And the price points are fine.
They really are beautiful. They did a fantastic
job. The construction on this one is really nice. I mean, it's pretty seamless. There's a couple little knots in it, but I mean, you're talking about tobacco. It's not like it's bad, but the cap on it's really nice. Beautiful dark brown, rich color.
And once again this week, these are smokestacks.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. With the Dusty Pour today, it's just like chocolate and candied oranges. And
ooh.
Yeah. And oak. There's like a black pepper oak presence that hangs on too.
Oh yeah, it's like those those chocolate oranges I think I told you about before.
Yeah.
You still have never had those, have you?
Still have never had those.
Gosh, I need to find them.
I really
for Christmas
like
this year.
in a box of chocolates, and I know life is like a box of chocolates.
You never know what
what you're gonna get. But in a box of chocolates, the ones that are the orange ones are the ones that I throw out.
Why?
I think they suck. Orange creams are terrible.
Yeah, but if it's good chocolate on top of it, it can cover a lot of sins.
I hope so. It's got to be dark chocolate. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate on a cream is too sweet. That's doubling down on the sweet.
It is. You're right.
It's just unnecessary.
So yesterday we did the whole Fox Garden tour. So we went to Fox Garden, which is in Fortville, just down the road here.
I was at Fox Garden last night.
Really?
Yeah.
What time?
It's 6:30.
No, we were there.
7?
We were there like 4 to 4:30.
Oh, okay.
And then we left there, went to Smokies, which is in Lapel, which is another Fox Garden building.
Yeah.
Had some drinks there, and then we went up to Bongi's, which Fox Garden just bought. Had a meal there. Damn, was that good?
Yeah.
One of the best meals I've had in a very long time. It was a Norwegian sea trout.
Yeah.
Oh my God! One of the best.
can't be Phil's fish.
I don't. Well, I asked him about that.
I think
I'm hoping he's working with them. If not, I've already told them I need to talk to Jake.
Phil
about
was
that.
supplying Fox Garden at least Fortville.
Well, if he is, then he'll be for them too.
Because I know he's doing.
Which Phil we're talking about? It's Bardala Seafood.
Yeah. And we call him Phil. He was a regular here long before he owned a seafood business.
And now that's all he does.
Now that's all he does. We miss you, Phil, if you're listening to this.
Yes, we
do. But no, I know he supplies for, gosh, what's the beer in Fortville? Taxman.
Yeah.
I know he supplies for them. And Cortonas?
I could see that for sure. Yeah. I would be surprised if they're not buying from him. I mean, his fish is the best you can get in Indiana, period. So.
Fox Garden, Fortville just revamped their menu, and they still have like a lot of the same things, but they're presented in new ways. Like their smoked pork chop now is not a glaze on it. It's got a really nice peach bourbon sauce on it.
Ooh.
Which honestly, their smoked pork chop is like 2 inches thick and comes on a bed of mashed potatoes and some other green. Victoria got that last night, and she switched it out for their Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Dude, their Brussels are crazy good.
Well, and the first time we ever had them, they were the best Brussels sprouts we've ever had in our life. Then they switched it up to this really heavy balsamic, and it wasn't as good. But recently they've switched it back, I think. Not back, because the one they had before was the one with squash.
Yeah.
Is that what she has now? The squash one?
So it is all like chopped up, finely chopped. It's not
so
like
it's
wedges or anything anymore. And it was in some sort of honey mustard glaze in there, and it was so good.
Man, we went right to food today, didn't we?
You were talking about it, dude. I had a good meal last night. I had their salmon. Their salmon is fantastic. Yeah. And they have a crab rangoon dip as a starter.
Yes, I saw that on the menu.
Dude, it's so good.
Sounds good.
It's so good. And they serve it with a bunch of like fried wonton strips. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get some of that.
It's not the fanciest atmosphere in there.
No.
But
that's the thing about Bongi's.
So good.
Well, it's very similar to Bongi's. Bongi's is an old tavern in an old building, and you walk in, and it kind of feels
where
Roadhouse.
Is Bongi's?
It's in Perkinsville, Indiana. It's like 10 minutes north of LaPel.
Oh.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they are world renowned for their food. They've always had a super high end chef in there. The menu rotates based on the week, and they win awards all over the world.
Yeah.
In little bitty town, 30 minutes or 25 minutes north of here.
Crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, Fox Garden, Jake over there, he just bought Bongi's, which he actually modeled his entire business around Bongi's because of his love for Bongi's, and he was able to buy something that he fell in love with as a younger guy.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's just
pretty
awesome
cool stuff.
Because what they do is scratch made everything, and at Fox Garden, the menu feels a lot like elevated soul food. Like it is Midwest staples, Midwest and Southern staples that you'll get just elevated, like a smoked pork chop, or they even had a Cuban on the menu last night, and I have heard amazing things about their.
I was told from Kevin, which is one of our regulars today. He said that's something he loves over there is their Cuban.
Yeah. And if you go there and eat sandwiches, like your meal is pretty cheap.
It isn't bad at all.
Like you can get a sandwich there for under $20. You get an entree, you're talking $20 to $40 unless you get steak.
Yeah.
But for the quality of food you're getting in the portion, you're not being ripped off.
Well, and Bongi's, being such a high-end restaurant and all that stuff, their prices are not high. I mean, I think the highest thing I saw on the menu was $40.
Dang.
Mine was $38 for our Norwegian fish.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was so good. So, I mean, their prices are not bad for a higher end meal for sure.
No,
So, but that was our night last night. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'll have to go there.
Yeah, you should. You and Victoria ought to do a special night or something.
We were going to go.
Definitely get at reservations ahead of time because they're sold out quick.
Yeah, we were going to go to Tinker Street, which is another one of our favorite, more nice dining spots. But their menu rotates like crazy. Like the nice thing about Fox Garden is they have their specials, when they have them, and my gosh, just order off the specials menu if you don't know what to get. But Tinker Street designs their entire menu around what's in season and what their farmers have the most of and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it was all things that Victoria hated.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and this is the type of place with like 15 items on the menu, like 5 starters, 5 mains, 5 desserts.
Yeah.
And she like
couldn't find anything she liked.
Not really.
Aww,
so I was like,
girl.
We can go to Fox Garden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they had a ton of fish in at Tinker Street.
Nice.
And they had a
she not a seafood person?
No.
Oh.
No,
Lisa's
I know.
not much of a seafood person either.
I know. They had a scallop risotto that I was so excited, but I knew I needed to make a different reservation.
That'll happen. Happen. But no, that was really a good time up there. Got to see an old buddy of mine. He's one of the servers up there, Mike Burden. He's met him through disc golf, and he's just a hell of a server up there for him. Got to talk to Jake for a little while. He's up there just kicking butt like he always does. So, yeah, definitely get out there. If you haven't been out there before, go. I literally grew up between 10 and 15 minutes from there and never been there in my life.
Until last night?
I'm like,
wow.
What the hell did I wait for, you know? I guess I always thought it was more expensive, or we never plan ahead. So it's like, oh, let's go out to eat tonight, and there's no way to get a reservation that quick.
Yeah.
But on Tuesdays, it's a little bit easier, so we did.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I definitely have to check it out.
Yeah. So on Monday, Lisa and I took a trip down to Louisville and went down to the Evan Williams Experience. Have you ever been to that?
I have not.
It's a pretty cool little trip, and there's a really nice education. You learn about Evan Williams and just everything going on, down there, and just the things that he did, really kind of paved the way for a lot of the bourbon world.
Supposedly,
yeah, whatever. But it was really kind of cool.
It's a shtick. It's a story.
It is.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story. You'll know that whenever you go to every distillery, they were the first to do something. But it was a pretty cool experience. We got to try through several of their bourbons. 3 of them you could only get there. In all honesty, this is the only one that I wanted to buy.
What were the other 2?
One was it was a blend of all of their mash bills. It's like 5 different mash bills.
Did you try it?
I did. It was very unique.
That's what I would have thought would have come out of that.
It wasn't one that would be a sipper. I honestly am kicking myself in the butt for not buying one just for everyone to try because it was very unique. Yeah. I don't think anyone would say this is the best pour I've ever had. It's more of a like, oh, I get what all these things did together.
So it's a blend of all of Heaven Hill's mash bills?
All of the Evan Williams mash bills.
Okay.
Specifically, just the Evan Williams different mash bills.
What do they have? I thought Evan Williams was all one mash bill.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
honestly kind of checked out when I was trying to start drinking bourbon. So.
Like you do.
Like I do.
Like you do.
But this one was definitely the winner. Everybody thought so, which it should be. Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, if you've ever had that, it's a very good, cheap bottle of 100 proof whiskey.
Yeah.
It's kind of like JTS Brown and some of those other ones. It's a good bottle and bond. But when you get up to a 12-year, this is probably the most special thing they make.
Yeah, it's 12 years old and 101 proof.
Yeah.
And
because you got to get one more than bottled and bond.
Yeah.
Screw those guys.
Yeah, screw the bottled and bond. In fact, it is a screw top, so legitimately screw them.
Screw them. Haven't even cracked it yet.
I love that about this bottle is that it is fully gold wax dipped. It has a tack strip over the top of the wax, all to unveil a black plastic cap. It is just such. Don't stab yourself.
That's why I put my hand up high.
It's just Evan Williams fashion, like to just. Have a black screw top on under it. Isn't that just classy?
It's beautiful.
But I really feel like if Evan Williams were to put a cork on it, I don't think I'd buy it. It's just like it's a true Evan Williams product.
Yeah, except for Evan Williams typically is a more affordable bottle than that one is.
Yeah, it is. What's that, like
150?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
and
I would pay that for this bottle.
And that's the only place you can get it from is there. So
it's also available in some overseas markets.
That's right.
I know Japan has it, and a couple others.
Yeah.
I had a bottle of this for a while and ended up giving it away as a birthday gift. So I was a little bit sad about it, but also I didn't have a special bottle to give the guy for his birthday. So I gave him that one.
That's a good special bottle because, again, you're not going to find anywhere else around here. So.
Yeah, I bought it from a guy who lives in Japan.
Oh, there you go.
So I actually paid $130 for it, which,
they could be selling it cheaper over there too.
I'll bet they are.
You can get into it if you want to. You're already done with your dusty pour. I'm babying mine over here.
You're welcome to. Just baby it as long as you want to. Age 12 years. This is, I don't know. I've when I tried this, I was really impressed by it. And I think the first time I tried this was at the Five Brothers bar at I poured a lot. At our Heaven Hill pick.
Yeah. That's where I first tried it too. Because they have a really nice bar up at Heaven Hill. That if you're ever down there, go to the bar. You get to try pretty much anything Heaven Hill's ever made on that bar. It's going to be salty, but some of those things you can't buy a bottle of. So
I was actually impressed with their prices.
See, their prices were a hell of a lot cheaper than Evan Williams' prices.
Evan Williams' prices went at $85 for a 1 ounce pour of Old Fitz.
Yeah, there was a couple that really threw me off when I saw them.
But you're in downtown Louisville, aren't you?
Yes, you are. So you're definitely paying that price.
Like you're paying the tourist tax.
Yep,
no doubt.
Let's see here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Got another thing to share with you too in a minute too, but so the Heaven Hill 17 and Heaven Hill 20 were $120 for a 1 ounce pour.
Yeah, like you do pay for the entire bottle.
Yeah. JTS Brown, $10 for a pour, and you're talking about an extra $5 you can buy the bottle.
yeah, and it is available in Kentucky. Yeah. But I think a lot of people go to the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience and don't have access to like JTS Brown.
Sure, yeah.
But like in Kentucky and Indiana, do not buy that pour at that bar. That is a cheap. It's a well bourbon. It is a good well bourbon. I mean, but honestly, it's a well bourbon.
It's a good sipper for someone that just wants a good solid bottle of bond. It's a great bottle. I mean, it's your calibration. Pour whenever we're going to pick. So.
I mean, seriously, I keep JTS Brown around all the time, and I need to buy another bottle this week because it'll end up being in my
all your cocktails.
Yeah, for Thanksgiving, I'm making a big old, basically apple cider style punch, which is bourbon, lemon, honey, apple cider, and the bourbon that's going in that is JTS Brown, and I'm going to try and make it to where it's a more sessionable drink that you're not just getting hammered real quick. Like it's not going to be crazy, but it'll get you somewhere when you need to.
Yeah.
And
it's
also going to taste
into that punch.
Yeah. Heck yeah. But
so is this at your folks' house or Victoria's folks' house?
At my folks' house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, somehow we got roped into having Victoria's entire family over at our house for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
That
ought to be interesting. Cigars on the patio afterwards? Or?
I don't even know how I'm going to do it. Legitimately, we're talking about 20 people, probably plus a few, in my house, which is a 3-bed, 2-bath.
Oh, this is your house, not even your mom and dad's.
No.
Oh,
yeah.
dang.
1,300 square feet. And
better be a nice day where you can get on that big outdoor patio of yours.
I sure hope.
Yeah.
I sure hope. Yeah.
Do you have heaters out there at all?
I got a solo stove. Like,
Okay.
we'll light
You could do
fires
that.
and stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. It stresses me out. Also, her family
Me
stresses
too.
me out. So it's just whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
That happens.
it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. This Thanksgiving, I'm losing some.
You're losing some. Yeah.
It'll be fine.
That's
it'll
all
be
right.
fine.
Just a few weeks after that's Christmas, you could do it all over again.
No, seriously, the thing that I'm thinking is that they'll all come over for Thanksgiving at our house this one year.
Then everyone will be pissed at each other and they'll never come back.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll just be like, literally everybody has a bigger house than this. I never want to come back here.
What you do is you set it up for failure.
Yeah.
You screw everything up
Yeah.
so that when
Loosen the legs on all the chairs.
whatever you're cooking, screw it up.
Yeah.
Overcook it, something.
Put some blood on the tablecloth.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That way when they say, you know what, that really didn't work out next time, let's have it at my house. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, I'll bring mashed potatoes.
Exactly. They're going to be lumpy, but it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, seriously, man.
Wow.
It is legitimately like, her family, like a lot of them live in Carmel, and like they got nice houses in Carmel. And, you know, a nice house in Carmel is a big house. It's not no 1,300 square foot in a ghetto. I just don't know what to
You
tell
gonna
them.
let some of your neighbors know that there might be some fun
Oh
stuff
my
locked into the cars
gosh.
along the road there to pick off?
Okay, so my street is not
No.
that bad.
No.
But I do have friends and have known people that live on streets so bad that you're better off leaving your car unlocked so that they don't break your
the
windows.
windows.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just a way of life.
It
you know,
is.
don't leave anything of value in your car, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I've had friends who got chapstick stolen out of their car. And sometimes I think, like, yeah, they're just messing with you, dude. They don't
They
like
have
you.
to be.
Yeah, have to be.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just I'm not excited about it, not one bit. She won't listen to this, so she don't care.
She didn't care.
Uh-uh.
So I did just get a text about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
What do we do with that? We don't have a breaking news thing on our board yet, do we? Nah, that's fine.
No.
Dirk just sent me a text and said that I won Cocktail of the Year through Indiana Bourbon for the Sazerac, the Seagrass Sazerac.
Oh my gosh.
Hell
You
yeah.
made him one?
I did.
Heck yeah.
I did. And we
Honestly,
won.
you deserve that.
We won. That's a hell of a cocktail. And so tomorrow I have to actually record making it so he can post it. I'm like,
Cool.
I was going to do it today. I'm like, but I'm in my Evan Williams shirt today. That really didn't quite work out the same
Yeah,
way. But
not quite.
so yeah, so that was pretty awesome to win that. So
That is awesome.
and
Congrats.
thank you.
Yeah. I don't know
cocktail.
if you remember this, but we did a Sazerac episode on here, and we were both, and I was like, you know, it'd probably be better with this seagrass. And you were like,
Let's do it.
holy crap, let's do it. And we sat around on the patio for a couple more hours because we were slamming seagrass Sazerac.
Yeah, that's a special Sazerac.
It'll get you.
Yes, it
it'll
will.
get
Yes,
you.
it
It'll
will.
also get your wallet a little bit.
It will. It's a salty-
$20.
It's a $20 cocktail.
Yeah. I mean,
Compared to I think it's $12 for the regular one, but it's worth it.
I do think it is worth it. It's a fantastic Sazerac.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people adverse to Sazerac because they hear rye whiskey.
Or they hear absinthe.
Yeah. But in balance, like Rob's are, you're not gonna. If you don't like rye whiskey, try a Sazerac. If you don't like absinthe, try a Sazerac.
Yeah. Yeah, because absinthe, if you don't know, it's almost like a black licorice liqueur. It's not. It's made differently, but that's the flavor note you're getting. But once you get the rye whiskey and the bitters and everything kind of blending together, it just becomes this whole new thing, a whole new style of a old fashioned that I believe was invented in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
Probably.
I love it.
They'll claim it at the Sazerac House.
They probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the funny thing is whenever I go to any bar that has Sazeracs, I always buy them just to see. I've still never had one better than the one that we make. I love our Sazerac.
Well, I do that same thing with Manhattans. Like,
yeah.
I find the most botched Manhattans. That's one of my favorite cocktails. Like, just absolute favorite. Just a clean, high-quality Manhattan. You're talking about 2 ounces of rye whiskey. This is my spec. 2 ounces of Rittenhouse rye, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, an ounce of Koki sweet vermouth, which is my preferred vermouth. It's got a little bit more of a vanilla note in it. It's less acidic as some of the other ones. And you just stir in a little bit of Luxardo cherry with it. Mm-hmm. Dip your bar spoon in it, stir it in, and serve it neat after you've chilled it in the stirring. Like it's just a wonderful cold weather drink. But everybody just botches it. It's just like you go to some places and it's super bitter.
He's a really cheap dry vermouth in or something.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you get some that are like.
That's honestly why I don't.
Did you throw a Cabernet in here? Like, Jesus.
That's the reason why I don't like Manhattans, because I've never had a good one. I think most of the places I've ever tried them, they are either using dry or they're just not using good whiskey. And I've never had one I liked.
Yeah, well, if I'll remember, we'll have to do a cocktail episode next time. Gosh, I don't know when we're going to record next week.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, sometime next week when, geez, I really don't know. When we record next week.
Oh, next week is
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
We can do it Thanksgiving morning. That way you don't have to go to your house.
No, absolutely not. I don't know when we're going to record next week, but we'll do a cocktail episode. Maybe we'll highlight the Sazerac, do a little bit, line stuff up, and be able to make it on the show.
Well, and I don't have Rittenhouse rye, so
I'll bring it.
You bring a little bit and make that too.
Yeah, totally.
We'll drink like 14 cocktails that day.
Maybe that's how we spend Black Friday morning.
Look like? Yeah, so what's your Friday look like after Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Say maybe we do it on Black Friday?
Could be.
Speaking of which, this Friday is Black Friday after this is aired, and we're going to have adult daycare.
Adult daycare. Third.
So if your
Rob is going to change your diaper for you.
No.
He's going to tell you when it's potty time.
No, but if your spouse is a shopper,
recess.
If your spouse is a shopper, ask her or him to drop you off at Final Third. Go shopping. You hang out here and drink, some nice drinks and have some cigars and relax while someone else is buying the gifts.
Yeah. How far away are we from HTC?
15 minutes max.
Okay.
Max.
So tell your spouse they can get rid of you and then go shopping at Hamilton Town Center Mall.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of Black Friday things happening there.
Yes.
I promise you.
Now, we're still only opening up at noon. I'm not opening up early for the 6 a.m. shoppers.
What?
No,
I don't think most stores open all hours of the nights anymore.
They don't.
I remember going to
I think COVID killed that.
It did.
Shortly before COVID,
online
they were still
shopping
doing it.
did. I've seen
online even more. Yeah.
So many stores have rolled out their Black Friday sales.
I'm seeing all the Black Friday sales already.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to get your money before the next guy, and you know what? It's kind of fine.
Yeah. I honestly, I'd much rather have it shipped to my house than go shop.
I do kind of miss, the sweaty, tired, post-Thanksgiving, waiting in line at a Walmart.
No.
It is legitimately a rush.
I don't miss that. I'll tell you the one thing I do miss
for
is when the kids,
5 TVs that are on sale.
Yeah. You're 47 in line and you're pissed off because you didn't get one of the 5 TVs.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of fun.
It's actually even more funny when they have them on the floor and they say these are going on sale at midnight, and you got people at 6 p.m. putting them in their cart walking around Walmart for 6 hours.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I remember taking the girls when they were younger, and we'd always do the midnight sales on Thanksgiving, and they'd go down to HTC and hit at that time Aeropostale and American Eagle and all those stores, and they would
Zoomies.
buy half their Christmas that night at midnight. It's like we get home at 3 a.m. and their Christmas is almost done for all their friends. It's like that was actually kind of fun with them. But I'm good not doing it now.
No, I mean, I really love Black Friday shopping all the way up until the year 2020 when I was employed at Cabela's.
Oh, God, yeah.
I had to be at Cabela's
at 4 a.m.?
6 p.m.
Okay.
Thanksgiving
on
evening.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
And then my shift, I think, was until midnight. And it was just like, I swear, that store buys the most knick-knacky things.
And everybody buys it.
And most of them do. They buy like things that you would never see at the store, and they put them in the big bins in the middle. Like it's just cheap crap, and you're paying a super cheap price for it, thinking that you're getting a deal of the century. It's like, dog, this has never been in our store until today.
And you get it in your stocking, and it's immediately in a drawer the next morning.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't need that.
The only thing that's good at Cabela's on Black Friday is occasionally they have some firearm sales.
Yeah.
And then
some fishing sales
Yeah. And then they also typically Vortex will have a Black Friday spec package.
Okay.
That they'll mark down some binoculars and some scopes that'll be like half off, and you're like, how did they do this?
Yeah. Well, and most of the stuff you're buying on Black Friday is one of two things. It's either last year's model that they're selling off because they have new stuff coming right after Black Friday
for Christmas,
or what I've seen, especially on TVs. You got to really watch this too. They'll release a Black Friday TV that's just like off spec kind of everything.
Yeah, and
they'll sell it super cheap. But then you'll get it home and you're like, oh, wow, this doesn't have any of the features that the one right next to it that looked exactly the same had.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful with that.
Super common thing in Black Friday deals where a company will make, like Vortex, they would send Cabela's and I worked in the hunting section, so I didn't have firearms. I just had ammunition, all of the hunting equipment that include binoculars and scopes and stuff like that.
Screw top, baby.
Yeah, screw top. So you know it's good.
You know it's good.
When they would send us their binoculars for Black Friday, it was a completely different packaging, completely different SKU. Supposedly a same binocular.
Yeah.
But people would be like, well, we see those over there. Can't you do the same deal? It's like, no. We can't. Like that's a different. As far as our inventory system is concerned, that is a different thing.
Well, and you may have, like, on one of them, you might have like a really high-end, indestructible plastic. It's, the body's made out. This one might be made with just plastic.
Yeah.
It might work just as good, but it's not going to last as long.
Yeah.
But you're also paying half the price for it.
I mean, but the nice thing is with Vortex, and I sound like I still work at Cabela's and still get their perks for sales. But they do have a lifetime warranty. They would come in and tell us that there was somebody who had a house fire, and they would show us the glass out of the binoculars and said, we replaced these. And you're just like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking $200 binoculars. Like, you shouldn't be replacing them all the time.
Yeah.
But if they fall out of your tree stand while you're hunting, like, yeah, you're covered.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it.
By the way, that Evan Williams 12,
delicious.
Oh my God. There's some like that red fruit kind of thing that happens with their stuff. It's I can't remember the rye content. I'm wanting to say it's God, he told us this shit. I should have wrote it down. I think the rye content is like 13% maybe.
Yeah. I thought it was fairly low.
Yeah. But you still get that rye kind of note in there, which is nice. They do the sweet mash or the sour mash.
Yeah.
And basically the sour mash, what that means is they're using a part of the previous batch. And basically what their stance on this is, and I'm assuming this is correct, is by using that part of the batch from the previous batch, it helps balance out the whiskey to create something very similar going forward. So you're always building off the same platform, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
So that's how they're doing the sour mashing themselves. They literally have a small vessel of the previous batch as they're building the other thing, and it blends.
Yeah.
And it's like, good way to do it, man.
So Evan Williams mash bill is 78 corn, 10% rye, 12% malted barley.
Yeah. And that malted barley shines nice in it too, especially at that 12-year mark. And I really do feel, I mean, we've said this a million times, I feel like Heaven Hill's magic point is that 12-year mark.
Kind of is. I mean,
getting beyond that, it gets a little too oaky. Some of the younger stuff is great. I mean, the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, was it 7 or 8 year now? 7. It's super good.
It is. You still have it on the bar?
I do.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of it in stock too, because it's that good. But yeah, it was really good time. We went to a couple different other places down there. If you're ever down downtown Louisville.
So real quick,
yes,
on the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience.
Yeah.
Did it feel like a distillery tour?
No.
Did it feel like a historical thing? Were you going through a museum?
Yes.
What was it, and how much did you pay for it?
I think it was $20 a piece.
Okay.
Which gets you the right to buy the bottles you normally buy there.
Yeah.
One thing.
And you could have bought
I could have bought 3 different bottles that you normally get there, but this is the only one I was really
I can't believe you
after.
didn't pick up an Evan Williams Peach.
I can get that freaking gas station.
Yeah.
But it was more of a museum tour, kind of telling the history and little videos and stuff like that. It was more of like going through a small museum.
So
it really wasn't a distillery tour.
Somebody could have this as an exhibit at a museum.
Easy.
Okay.
Easy, yeah.
Like there was no running still, nothing like that.
There was a very small still that they're doing some special batches that they're playing around with back there. But who knows? That could have literally just been for show.
Yeah.
But there were people back there mashing and all that stuff. So it was, it was. It's just a museum tour, and it was more about telling you the history. And that's really about it.
So as a bourbon nerd and somebody who's been on many distillery tours at this point, through picks, through just bourbon tourism, was it an experience? Is it an experience you would recommend to other bourbon enthusiasts?
I'd say it's worth doing once.
Okay.
If I want another bottle of this, I might skip through it just to get to the end to get my bottle.
Yeah.
But it's worth doing once. The story is very intriguing, whether it's 100% true or not. It was a very, very good story. I will say our tour guide was a little tipsy when he started, and he was drinking with us too. So
that's kind of fun.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Really cool, really good dude. But yeah, it's not. You're not gonna go into this and have an experience like you would if you're doing a barrel pick, or if you're doing a tour of Buffalo Trace or Heaven Hill or Makers or any of those. You're not gonna get the same experience. But it was worth doing once.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd ever go back down there and do it again unless I really want more bottles of this, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
So all in on this bottle, you're basically saying tour price in this, you're in at 170 before tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
is it worth 170 for you?
Yeah, to have a couple bottles on the bar. Yeah, because I got one. Lisa got one, and I got one. So I got one sitting at home and one to share.
Cool.
It was worth doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say this is not. I wanted this bottle more so because you can't get it anywhere else, and I also have had it and I liked it. It's not a bottle that if it was on secondary for $250, I'd go hunting after.
Yeah.
But it was worth doing it for the tour. So yeah, it was good. It was worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely say if you want something special you can't get anywhere else that's still going to taste really, really good, it's definitely worth doing.
Well, I mean, and that goes to say, like, if you have a bourbon fan in your life who is always hunting bottles, this is a bottle you can get at a guaranteed experience.
Yeah.
But you have to do
170.
you have to do the pick, or you have to do the tour to do it.
Yep.
You can't just walk into the gift shop and buy it. You got to be on a tour.
You have to have the tour sticker to actually be able to legally buy it, or their legalities of buying it.
Yeah. But that would be another thing. Go down to Louisville. It's near Whiskey Row, if not on Whiskey Row.
It's on Whiskey Row. Yeah. Yep.
So if you plan it right, you could do Evan Williams. You could do Old Forester. Which Old Forester actually has, as far as I know, a pretty cool tour on Whiskey
It was closed
Row.
on Monday, or we would have done that one too.
I know.
That's one thing that's nice about Evan Williams Experience and Heaven Hill. If you are down there on a Monday, they are open. Almost everybody else is closed. You know, we did hit some other places that were bars and stuff like that. We went to Justin's House of Bourbon. Cool little museum spot. I would never buy a bottle there.
Yeah, their picks are really good, though.
Dude, their 4-gate pick was insanely good, but it was $250 for the bottle.
I mean, that's kind of... I mean, that's the culmination of 4-gate prices.
It is.
And Justin's prices.
I mean, that's really only adding, $50 to the price of a traditional 4-gate pick. So it wasn't that bad, but it was
the
super
craziest
tasty.
thing to me about Justin's is
What's that?
that they have no shame selling Buffalo Trace Green Label for like $50.
Yep. Well, and then you look at the really special bottles, like they have every Pappy you can think of. The sticker prices on everything's listed, but they have them on the bottom of those bottles. It says $0, which means you ain't buying that one.
Yeah.
That's maybe the only one they've got.
You can buy it.
You can buy it, but it's going to be stupid.
Yeah. You are talking more than secondary on all of those.
I'd say way more than secondary for those.
But as far as they go, if you are a person who is... I would say like a corporate gift, something like that. You're looking for a bottle with guaranteed authenticity. You're not going to get any fakes running through Justin's.
Especially after they got busted.
If you find any vintage bottles there or recent bottles,
they're legit.
They are absolutely legit. The only thing that they had in that store that was not legit was some Blantons, which just buy on your normal secondary if you're going to do that. Like they're $100 all day long around here on secondary.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a bottle of a higher caliber, let's say that $500 to $1,500 mark, it's Justin's.
Yeah.
And that is the place to go and get something.
They did have a crazy little selection of stuff, and like I said, one thing that's cool is they do barrel picks there too.
Yeah,
and I think they had like probably 15 different barrel picks on the wall you can buy. The cool thing about, at least, and I don't know if that was just that day or what, you can do half-ounce pours of all their barrel picks for $5.
Yeah.
So I got that 4-gate for $5. It was delicious, but I didn't want to pay $250 for a 4-gate.
Yeah, I mean,
I liked it. I liked it a lot, but it's not. After buying the other bottles, I'm like, I really don't need that.
So let's say.
What?
Yeah, I mean, $5 on that 4-gate pick is $230 for the bottle.
I know it's cheaper than buying the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still like nearly bottle price.
I will tell you right now, they had an absolute shit ton of that pick on the shelves. So I have a feeling the reason they were doing $5 picks on that or pours on that was because they are not selling it. That's the only thing I can think of.
It is hard for people to justify a $250 pick when you're sitting there, and especially if you're a bourbon tourist, you're sitting there surrounded by probably a Weller Full Proof, and that's going to be around that $300 mark. It's like, why don't I spend $300 and get the bottle that I've never seen on the shelf? Or why don't I get a couple Weller Antique 107s, or just, a Stag Junior. You could probably hit a Stag Junior for that $300, $325 mark there,
which is more than what I want to spend on Stag Junior. I love it. So,
but it's just like, why at a place like that get a bottle that you can find at your Total Wine in the glass case most days of the year?
Yeah.
and forfeit something if you're spending that money. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Bourbon Tourist thing. I am
Yeah.
sure their 4-gate pig is better than most Stag Juniors.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. But you're going from a true Buffalo Trace item to a sourced whiskey.
Yeah.
So
4-gate normally is putting some high age stuff in
They
there.
are. They are.
And they'll have high age Heaven Hill, high age Barton, high age
MGP. They use
MGP, yeah.
Well, and so after that, we went over to Doc Crow's, had a meal there. Doc Crow's has 2,600 whiskeys on their menu.
Yeah.
So I'm looking back. I'm like, okay, how many distilleries makes whiskey in America?
And they have a lot of vintage there.
They have a lot. They have pretty much everything. They had, I don't mean to be rude, they had Oakley Brothers, all the Oakley Brothers stuff, which is a little bitty distillery in Anderson, Indiana,
Really?
on their menu. Every distillery you can think of, they had. I'm like, okay, what they've done is they went to the 770 some distilleries in America and bought something from every one of them to say we have everybody's whiskey.
That's kind of cool, though.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. But I was like, 2,600. How hard is it to pick a bourbon to drink? It's like, oh my God.
I mean,
And
talk about decision paralyzation.
It was
it's
paralyzing.
crazy.
It was paralyzing. So we and then they have their barrel picks too, which they had like 7 barrel picks. Shockingly enough, not a single barrel pick from Heaven Hill, which I was very shocked by them.
Huh.
It was very odd.
Who'd
They did have the Old
picks
Forester,
with?
which is right across the
Ofo,
street from
yeah.
them.
Was it a barrel proof or a 100 proof?
It was barrel proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try it?
No, I
Okay.
didn't. But so that was a good time there. That was a really good time. Trying to think of what else we did on our way
Was
back.
it good food at Doc Crow's?
It was good food. The food was very good.
Did you get a hot brown?
No, I
No.
can't honestly remember what I got now.
Yeah.
It was good enough to not remember, I guess.
Yeah. Very memorable.
Very memorable.
Very memorable.
It was amazing.
You had also drank quite a bit by then, I'm sure.
We've been drinking all day
Yeah.
that day. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went to Evergreen Liquors. So
Evergreen.
I've never been to that store. Tell me about Evergreen.
It was good. They had some stuff that you can't get everywhere. They have a pick wall too, which is where I got this one. They had a lot of stuff on the menu you can get pours for. We didn't end up staying and drinking. We went to a little bar right next door to them, which was an outdoor bar, and had a couple of drinks there and smoked cigars outside.
Yeah,
So
that
was
place
great.
that you smoked a cigar, I saw that and I was like, is that burger joint in Bardstown? And then I remembered
No.
you were in Louisville.
Yeah, this
but
was
that picture really looked like that, like
kinda
little
does.
back alley
Yeah.
area. that
Yeah,
we
this
were
was
in.
it's called the Garage, and it's literally an old like gas station
Yeah.
that they converted into a bar, and the dude in there was making insanely good cocktails.
Yeah.
I ended up having 3 cocktails, and Lisa had one. All of them were fantastic. So cool little spot right next to Evergreen. But no, Evergreen was kind of cool. It's a liquor store that has a small little bar, so you can try some stuff, and you can also find some stuff you might not be able to find. Honestly, it didn't have as many of the harder to find bottles as I was expecting. It had a few, maybe 20.
But you got to understand that they're buying those off of people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, most of them, they're not getting from a distributor.
I thought that was illegal.
Not in Kentucky.
Oh, it's not? I
No.
thought that's what Justin's... Oh, no, Justin's was taking bottles in secondary and selling them.
Justin's was getting bottles of Blanton's shipped in by the pallet from, where are they? The Netherlands.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know.
And Buffalo Trace was like, hey, hate to tell you, but we do not send any Blantons to the Netherlands.
Oops.
Yeah,
Oops.
whoopsies.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now I wonder who's in Hickman, Kentucky.
I don't know.
Um,
Let's look her up.
yeah,
It's a magic thing called an iPhone.
yeah. The information is at your fingertips. Where I am about to get into this Armagnac barrel finish down home Wheated Kentucky Straight Bourbon. It is 97.2 proof. That's a low proofer, Rob.
Yep. Jackson Purchase Distillery.
Oh.
Is in Hickman. That must be theirs then.
Interesting. 97.2 proof Armagnac finish. So this must have been proof down. That's all I can guess, because
has to be. Yeah.
A lot of Armagnacs are high proof.
If you read, I thought it said it entered the barrel at 105. Maybe I'm thinking something else.
Yeah, entry proof of 105, perfect in their own right, were brought together to meld flavors with the Armagnac resting within the cask. Since that day, every few weeks, the Louisville Bourbon Club is gathered to taste the transformation from bourbon to finished bourbon.
Yeah.
3 months in, a unanimous choice was made to pull and bottle the down-home Armagnac cask finished bourbon. We hope you enjoy drinking it as much as we do.
Nice. So I'm going to yeah, we'll see how good it is. It's like I said,
Did you try this before you bought it?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I just bought it.
You've tried it since.
I tried a little pour of it. We'll see what you think. It drinks a little young to me, but the Armagnac does pop. So we'll see what you think.
So on the nose, it does have a grainy note, but it definitely has that signature Armagnac, almost white grape baking spice thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. This one is 80% corn, 12 wheat, and 8 malted barley.
The graininess I'm talking about leans more toward it's almost like it almost reminds me of like a jalapeno cornbread. Which is kind of an odd. No, just on the nose. Just on the nose, okay. And it has a little bit of sharp ethanol on the nose, but onto the palate.
And this is one that the bartender that was working there, when I was talking to him about it, this is the one that she said was her favorite that they've picked in a very long time.
Wow.
Again, I don't know her palate, know nothing about her, but all those things kind of coming out. I was like, I'll get it. It was not an expensive bottle. I think it was like $69 or something like that for a pick. It wasn't terrible.
So on the palate for me, it's like I'm drinking a glass of white wine with bread pudding. Or not bread pudding, corn pudding.
The nose
I'm intrigued by it. I can't figure out if I like it or not, so I'm going to give it some more time. And it's just interesting. It's just interesting.
It is interesting.
It really has like a creamy corn thing going on the palate, and it's not sharp and it's not youthy in a sharp way.
I feel like the wheat in it is kind of making it brighter.
Yeah.
It's bringing it into that kind of white wine world.
And people that are probably put off by the fact that we're using descriptors like sharp or bright, it typically is just to describe like punchy, more lighter flavors on the flavor wheel. You know, some people will describe some younger Irish whiskeys as shiny.
Yeah.
Which almost implies some sort of metallic characteristic, which you can find in some of them.
Yeah.
This is not sharp. It is leaning towards some of the brighter notes. I'm not put off by it.
No.
That's kind of I'm really just interested.
I was interested enough to where I'm like, okay, I can't say this would be a bottle I want to go hunting all the time, but I'm like, this is kind of a unique bottle. The Armagnac does shine through
on the finish for me.
Lightly. It's not like sitting in an Armagnac barrel for 2 years or something like that, waiting to age out. It's not going to give you those heavy Armagnac, cognac kind of notes. It's giving you more of the brightness of it, which I'm not mad about.
Totally.
Not bad at all.
It's just no, it's really nice in as far as it's considered for a general palate, it's smooth and complex.
I get almost on that last sip, I get almost like a honey simple, where you actually water down a honey to make it into a syrup. I get kind of that little bit of a honey kind of note there. It's not honey. It's more of like the flower honey, not clover, but more floral honey.
I could see that.
Like a really light honey.
I am really stuck on this corn pudding thing on the palate. Like,
I can see that.
It's like a super sweet corn pudding for me. And it does finish with like some of those more white wine grapey notes, and not in an acidic way.
No. I'm trying to see. It didn't have an age statement.
Really
anywhere,
interesting.
I don't think on it.
It says straight on the front, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's 4 years. Or straight, is that?
Yeah, straight with
4?
Straight, well, I don't know with finished.
Yeah.
Straight can be 2 years age stated on a normal bourbon.
Gotcha.
Straight unaged stated on a normal bourbon is at least 4 years. On a finished bourbon, I don't even know why you'd say straight. I don't think it... I just don't know that it means much.
Well, yeah. I mean, the way they're wording it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in Armagnac. So it started there and finished somewhere else.
So I would... it's at least 2 years old.
Yeah. And it's not real dark, but it's darker than a lot of wheated whiskeys. It's only 10% wheat, but that's still a little higher wheat content than a lot of your wheaters out there. Or it's in that world,
It's definitely in that world. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I guess it is in typical Kentucky fashion to claim 10% wheat is a wheater.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like anybody that puts any wheat in their whiskey will call it a wheated, if it's a bourbon with 5% wheat, it's like, oh, it's a wheated bourbon. Like, is it really doing that much? But it does change it.
It does change it. And really across the board in the whiskey category, it seems like rye comes of age a ton quicker than corn, than wheat.
Definitely with wheat, yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, Maker's Mark knows that sweet spot when they put out stuff at 6 years old. It is just like your typical Maker's is ready to go out the door. I think regular old Maker's and Maker's cash strength is actually a great product. Especially for the market, for the price point that it's in. It's not going to blow you away.
Yeah.
But there's nothing about me that says, this is youthy.
Right.
Yeah. And that's at that 6 year mark. Starlight's waited to put out any wheated products until that 6 year mark, because there is really something that happens in a wheated bourbon or a wheat whiskey at that 6 year mark. Rye, I have had MGB ryes at 2 years old that I've loved.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely been in love with. Granted, they were medicinal. They were spicy.
But that's your baby.
But rye, as it ages out, just becomes more and more mellow.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah,
You can't make generalizations like that. I would say most of the time.
I tend to like a high rye bourbon that's that 6+ year age point.
Yeah.
Because it mellows out some of the spice and the bite, but it has the flavor, which then blends nicely with the vanillas and the caramels and the cherries and all those things. It really blends nicely. But when you get a rye younger, you're right, it definitely hits more of that punch that a lot of people want in a rye.
Medicinal, spicy, that almost eucalyptus.
Which is what you kind of want for like a rye old fashioned and some of that stuff. You want that little bit of a hit to kind of balance out the sweetness of a cocktail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. At least I do. Some people really like their cocktails to lean sweet. But
you typically don't go with a rye if you're looking for a sweet cocktail. You're typically going to go bourbon or rum or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
But I think even a super spicy medicinal rye. And like a typical shelf staple that I would call a medicinal rye is the Willet 4-year rye.
Yeah.
I think that would be great in a Sazerac, and that would calm down a lot of those medicinal. I think that rye leans into some of those eucalyptus and almost dill notes, which I enjoy.
I'll tell you,
I enjoy it, but I think a Sazerac would calm it down.
A random musing from Rob right now. The amazing thing to me is a Sazerac with Sazerac rye is not good.
Terrible.
It does not work in that cocktail.
Well,
which kind of pisses me off a little bit. It's like that should be your staple, but it's, and that maybe that's why, when I was in New Orleans and trying all these Sazeracs, most of them would use Sazerac rye for that. Maybe that's why I wasn't as big of a fan of them down there as I am, with the ones we created.
Sazerac rye has not been openly available in the Indiana market until
now.
The past couple months.
Yeah,
it's
everywhere.
Like I saw two different Meijer stores got pallets of it. It's just like they pushed out a ton to our market, which I think is fine. Like I do believe the Indiana market needed another rye on it.
Yeah,
I think Sazerac rye leans more into the cigar note territory for me. It has a lot more leather on it. It has a little bit of those medicinal qualities, and there's not enough sweetness and not enough spice on it for me to think anything special. Are you going to get the bottle?
I'll grab the bottle.
Yeah, grab the bottle. Sazerac rye was one of those that I had tracked down for a little while because we didn't have it in our market. And I finally got one from one of my friends in Nashville, and I did make a Sazerac with it. My first ever Sazerac I made with Sazerac rye, and I thought it was terrible. I thought I didn't like the cocktail, but little did I know, I just didn't like the whiskey.
Yeah.
And that first ever Sazerac I made was almost to final third spec because the absinthe I bought was the French Lick Absinthe Le Bleu, which I was the one that introduced you to that.
Best cocktail Sazerac, period. Or absinthe, period.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the Absinthe Le Bleu.
And I will say, so talking about their absinthe, that absinthe is definitely on the sweeter side. Traditional absinthe is going to be very herbal, have a lot of funky kind of herbal, mushroomy kind of things going, which may not be your jam. And honestly, a lot of those don't work well in a cocktail. This one is perfect for cocktails. So if you're looking to have something, if you love black licorice jelly beans, you're going to love it. I'm anxious to try this too. I have not tasted this as a sipper in a very, very, very long time.
I poured too much of it.
It's all right.
If you want to check yours, I'll split it with you.
All right.
Yeah, I poured 2 ounces right there, or 1.5 ounces. That's
good. Woo, okay.
You good?
Dude.
I just took down 1 ounce of that Armagnac finish.
Freaking great with a bigger sip.
I think so.
Oh.
I think a bigger sip.
It's only 97 proof, which I know that's high for some people.
I'm just so accustomed to sipping cash strengths.
Me too.
That a larger sip allows your tongue to be engulfed by the actual liquid before you get any of the alcohol hit.
Well,
it doesn't have the opportunity to vaporize.
Well, it hits your entire tongue, under your tongue, and then down the throat, so it hits all your senses at the same time. That just elevated a lot for me by taking a bigger sip.
Yeah. I think that would be fantastic in cocktails. I think it would be good. It's just a good session sipper. And we can't say that for a lot of the whiskeys we drink on the show.
No.
They're like one pour wonders.
Yeah.
Especially those old Clifty brandies we picked.
Oh, dude.
They will sneak up on you and beat you up. And,
so I don't know if I told you this or not, but I did create the Bishop Mule now, which is the brandy in a mule.
Yeah.
Best mule you'll ever have in your freaking life.
I believe it.
It is
I fully believe
the
it.
right thing for a mule because you're still getting that 141 or 148, depending on which one you go
And
with.
it shows through even on the ginger beer?
It does, but it mellows out the heat, so you're tasting the flavor and not 148 proof. It's so good. I've been making those. Unfortunately, the other night I made 3 of them for myself after drinking other stuff, and I'm like, I gotta sit and watch a little more hockey tonight.
You sleep on the red couch again?
I didn't sleep. Okay. I didn't fall asleep, but it was, I was walking around a little sideways that day.
So on the nose of this Sazerac rye for me, it's
we probably should have rinsed our glass out a little bit too.
Is like cedar, cinnamon, a little bit of that leathery quality.
I get that kind of soapy nose on it too a little bit.
There's almost, and this sounds weird talking about a whiskey, but there is almost an umami quality to this whiskey.
On the nose or on the sip?
On the nose.
Okay.
Like there is a slightly savory thing happening for me.
I'm getting like almost an unscented soapy thing on my nose a little bit.
I can see where you're coming from, but on the palate.
It's like brown water.
It's leather.
It's
and
only because we're coming off.
Me.
It is. I mean, you definitely get that leathery kind of, and I get the cinnamon. It's not cinnamon spice. It's cinnamon baking spice. It's not like cinnamon.
There's no
red
heat
hot
with
candies.
It. Yeah.
It's the baking spice cinnamon.
And there's nothing
terrible.
wrong with this.
No, it's not bad at all.
But it is not.
I would call this an entry level rye.
But I don't even think it offers the things that make a characteristic rye. I don't think there's anything in here that, like, if you serve me this in a flight, and granted, I'm not the best palate in the world, I would have a hard time distinguishing this between a low rye and a high rye bourbon.
Yeah.
Especially at the proof it's sitting
I would
at.
almost say at the 90 proof, you're getting less rye on this as a rye from a rye bourbon.
Yeah.
High rye bourbon.
Yeah. I mean, legitimately, Elijah Craig is spicier than this.
Yeah, and that's it.
Like,
what,
just small
90
batch.
proof, 92
Yeah.
proof, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
And I always do think Elijah Craig fools me when I put it in a blind or anything like that. I think it drinks above its proof. And not in a bad way. Not in a bad way at all. But
Nope.
I just never think of it as like 92 or 93 proof, whatever it is.
Well, it's like we still
to me,
have-
it tastes more like 100 proof.
Yeah, we still have people coming in here going, "Oh my God, I can't believe you have, the toasted bourbon, Elijah Craig toasted," and it's getting a lot easier to find. I saw that on many grocery stores here recently.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a solid toasted. It's for me, it's an entry level toast.
Yeah.
Because it's lower proof. It's definitely good. If you want the most entry level toast, I would probably go Basil Hayden toast.
Yeah.
It's really light. It's never going to get you in trouble.
The best toast.
Right now on my bar, I know one.
Nulu.
Nulu French Dave toasted
So
might be the best toasted we've got on the bar. Now, I
think it's the best toasted I've ever had.
I will say the contender to that right now is the Penelope toasted rye we got in.
Yeah, but the Penelope toasted rye doesn't. So I would say if you're training yourself to learn what toasted staves do to a product,
Yeah.
you need to try the Nulu. If you want to try them in balance,
Dude, I would
try
say
the Penelope.
I would say if you want, I need to do this as a flight here. Do Basil Hayden toast, Elijah Craig toast, and then do the Penelope toasted bourbon,
Yeah.
and then do the Nulu toasted bourbon.
Yeah.
And you'll see the differences, how they step up in flavor complexity from a lot of it's from proof, a lot of it's from a heavier toast. I think that Nulu toast is probably one of the heavier toasteds I've had but it brings out all that beautiful caramely kind of thing that toasted wood does.
The thing for toasted for me, like the signature flavor note, is marshmallow.
Marshmallow, yeah.
Like that's just what I think of when I try any toasted.
I always think of marshmallow caramel.
That's why, like even on the Bardstown episode we did, we tried that rye, and I was like, in my head I was like, this is toasted. This is just toasted. And I was waiting for him to say that it was, and he finally did.
Yeah.
But if he didn't, I was going to ask him. But there was just something so clear in that was like, this is a toasted product. It just absolutely is, 100% without a doubt.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Jim Salmon's texting us right now.
Yeah, what's he saying?
His heater still works. He just sends me random pictures of him smoking a cigar above his heater or below his heater, so...
He's got one of those big old patio heaters. Hey, Jim. Love you, buddy.
He probably bought it for $10 somewhere and got it working.
He probably traded a microwave for it.
He did. That dude can get anything working, man.
I tell you, so
wires aren't.
The thing that I love so much about Jim is that he reminds me of my extended family that lives in Martinsville, where they just wheel and deal for everything.
Martin-Tucky, baby.
Martin-Tucky, baby.
Hell yeah.
Which is, I can't recommend living there. They do have some very racist roots.
They do.
And,
so I do have some very sad news that turns into really exciting news.
Okay.
So you guys know we're La Galera fans here. We love La Galera. Brad Barton's been our rep for a very long time. Awesome dude. We fell in love with this guy.
We love Brad. We really do.
You know, if you're listening, Brad, please reach out to me. I want to talk to you again. But he has recently left La Galera.
Yeah.
And their new rep is Corey Frisbee.
Okay.
Which a lot of you may have heard his name before, but he's the one that used to run the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival out in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
He also had a shop he worked with out in Kansas City, Missouri. He's also a farmer growing tobacco in Missouri. He recently took a job with La Galera and Hochi Blanco. He's still growing tobacco. Hochi has committed to buying his next crop from his farm, which is going to be in Wisconsin, which is where he's moving next. So we're going to be getting tobacco in Wisconsin. Cool thing we're going to have.
How is he growing tobacco in Wisconsin?
Dude, I have no idea, but we're going to have him on the show, and we're going to talk about it.
Heck yeah.
He's going to be coming up here. Probably won't be till the first of the year because he's right now trying to literally move his entire life and his farm from Missouri to Wisconsin.
That's crazy.
Over the next 9 weeks. So he's going to be scrambling for that.
That dude's covered up.
He is covered up. But we're going to be doing an event with him first part of the year sometime. He's a cigar roller too.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a rolling event here. You're going to be able to actually grab a fresh rolled cigar and smoke it. Obviously, it's 100% tobacco from his farm.
Yeah.
So it's a Puro from probably Missouri or Wisconsin. It's probably not going to taste amazing, but you're going to get a chance to see something rolled, him talk about how it's being rolled, and then you get to try something fresh right off the rolling table. That's going to be a blast of an event. But he's now with La Galera, and I talked to him for quite a while today. So shout out to him. I'm excited to have him as part of the team now.
And once again, we love you, Brad. If you're listening, the times you've been on this show have been fantastic.
Just the times we hang out and drink and smoke together. You know, I really hope that we get to see him. Hopefully, you know, again, Brad, if you're on it, listen to this, please come down and visit us again here soon. Let me know when you're due coming. I'll make sure the crew comes in to hang out with you.
Brad, you feel like a part of the Final Third crew.
He's part of he's family.
Please know that you're always welcome here.
Yes.
And honestly, I hope you work for another company that we got in this humidor and
And if not,
really
and I don't know, he may
thrive
be moving on to different things. Maybe
Could
his
be.
career's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, but
either way, love you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something fun coming down the road too. I'm excited to have that going too.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to Deadwood Live for this fantastic podcast table that we've been recording on for so long.
Yeah.
But thanks all for tuning in. You can find me at the Whiskey Pastor. Rob, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can find me at Final Third Cigar. You can always check out the podcast on YouTube or all the podcast channels. You know, like Isaiah always says, give us your most honest 5-star review.
And seriously, if you're on YouTube, give us a like.
Yeah, or comment and talk to us. We'd love to hear more about what you guys have got going on. But yeah, we'll be seeing you here soon. Holidays are coming. We got a lot of Black Friday specials all the way through Christmas, so make sure you come by and check us out. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next week. Cheers.